I was once the strongest cultivator in my sect. My disciples worshipped me. The world feared me. But one night, everything changed. I woke up chained inside a cage. Dozens of alphas surrounded me. And my own senior brother looked down at me and said, "Ask your beloved disciples how we discovered you're a Golden Lotus Omega." For an entire month, they treated me like an object, like something meant to produce powerful children. When I finally died, I swore one thing. If I ever returned to this world, I would kill the 2 disciples who betrayed me. But when I opened my eyes again, I wasn't reborn as a master. I woke up as a servant, serving the 2 men who had already destroyed the world. Because of my death, the iron chains bite into my wrists. Cold metal scrapes bone every time I breathe. I hang from the ceiling of the cage, toes barely touching the stone floor. Blood drips slowly from my fingers. I taste iron in my mouth. The air smells wrong. Heavy, thick, sweet. My scent. Lotus. The scent of an Omega. A laugh echoes outside the bars. "Look at him," someone sneers. The great cultivator Elliot, trembling like this. Another voice answers, rough with hunger. "Not just an Omega. A Golden Lotus Omega." A hand suddenly grabs my jaw and forces my head up. The alpha in front of me grins. His teeth look too sharp in the torchlight. "Tell me, Master Elliot, did it hurt when your dear disciples exposed you?" My vision blurs for a second. "What?" The word scrapes out of my throat. The alpha laughs loudly and throws my head back. Around the cage, more men gather. Powerful cultivators. Alphas. Their eyes glow faintly red under the flickering flames. Predatory. Greedy. The scent in the cage grows heavier. My body burns as the heat in my veins rises uncontrollably. Something is wrong. I clamp my teeth together, forcing my voice to stay steady. "Albert, Carl would never do that." A few men burst out laughing. One slams his fist against the iron bars. "You still trust them?" Another leans closer to the cage, his breath hot against my skin. "They told the sect master everything." The words strike harder than the chains. My chest tightens. "No, Albert would never. Carl would never." Footsteps echo through the hall. Slow. Measured. The crowd outside the cage suddenly parts. Every alpha bows their head. "Sect master." My stomach twists. Through the blur of torchlight and shadows, a tall figure steps forward. White robes. Calm eyes. A gentle smile. My senior brother. The man who raised me after our master died. The current ruler of the sect. He stops in front of the cage. For a moment he simply looks at me, like a teacher examining a failed student. I force myself to meet his gaze. "Senior brother, why?" My voice breaks despite my effort. The sect master sighs softly. "You should ask your beloved disciples." His tone is almost amused. My heart slams violently against my ribs. "Albert and Carl are on a mission." "Yes," he says lightly. "A mission I personally sent them on." The meaning sinks into me slowly. Cold. Heavy. Deliberate. They were sent away. So this could happen. The sect master steps closer to the cage. The iron door creaks open. He walks inside. The alphas outside grow restless, their breathing deepening as my scent thickens. My heat is coming. I try to pull away from him, but the chains hold me in place. He reaches out and lifts a strand of my hair between his fingers. "So beautiful." I feel sick. "Do you know what you are, Elliot?" I glare at him. "An alpha." His smile widens. "No." He leans closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. "You are a Golden Lotus Omega." The words feel unfamiliar. I frown. "Omega?" He laughs softly. "You didn't even know." His hand moves to my neck. "Your body produces a unique spiritual essence. If you bear a child," he pauses, "that child will be born powerful enough to shake the cultivation world." Silence fills the hall. Then one of the alphas outside the cage breathes out hoarsely. "A child born strong." Another voice follows. "A Golden Lotus bloodline." The hunger in their eyes grows sharper. My heart begins pounding faster. "You're lying." The sect master tilts his head. "Am I?" He snaps his fingers. 2 disciples drag a trembling servant forward. The servant drops a small jade mirror in front of me. My reflection stares back. My pupils have changed. Gold. A faint lotus-shaped mark burns against my collarbone. My breath catches. "No. No." The sect master turns toward the waiting alphas. "Well." His smile turns cold. "Why are you hesitating?" The cage door opens completely. The first alpha steps inside. Then another. And another. I struggle violently against the chains. Don't touch me. My voice echoes through the hall. No one listens. The first alpha grabs my chin. His grip is bruising. Relax, he murmurs. This is an honor. I spit blood into his face. For a second the hall goes silent. Then he laughs. Good. His eyes glow brighter. I like strong ones. The scent in the cage explodes. My heat crashes over me like fire. My body betrays me instantly. My legs weaken. My breathing turns uneven. The alpha presses closer. Outside the cage, the sect master watches calmly. Like a man observing an experiment. My vision blurs. Somewhere deep inside my chest, a single thought repeats over and over. Albert. Carl. You said you would protect me. You said we would rebuild the sect together. You said. The chains suddenly jerk as another alpha grabs me from behind. Pain shoots through my shoulders. The hall fills with laughter. The sect master turns to leave. Before stepping out, he glances back at me. His voice carries easily across the chaos. You should have hidden your scent better. The cage door slams shut. Darkness swallows the room. Days blur into weeks. I lose count after the first 10. My body barely feels like my own anymore. Every time I close my eyes, another alpha enters the cage. Some are rough. Some are gentle. None of them care who I am. To them I am only one thing. A Golden Lotus Omega. Something to claim. Something to use. Something to breed. The lotus mark on my neck burns constantly. Sometimes I think I hear Albert's voice. Sometimes Carl's. But when I open my eyes, it is always someone else. Always another pair of hungry eyes. Another pair of hands. Another voice whispering how valuable my body is. By the end of the month, I can barely stand. The chains are the only thing holding me upright. Blood stains the stone floor beneath my feet. My breathing grows slower. Weaker. Outside the cage, the sect master returns one last time. He studies me quietly. You're dying. I laugh weakly. The sound comes out broken. Disappointed. He shakes his head. No. His gaze drifts to the lotus mark on my neck. Even a single child from you would have been enough. My vision fades at the edges. I force my eyes open. Albert. Carl. The sect master sighs. Still thinking about them? He turns away. They should be returning from their mission soon. The word stabs straight through my chest. Too late. Everything is too late. My body finally gives out. The chains rattle softly as my weight drops. Darkness spreads slowly through my vision. My last breath trembles in my lungs. Hatred burns inside my chest like a dying star. Albert. Carl. If you truly betrayed me, then listen carefully. If heaven gives me another chance, I will return. And when I do, I will destroy you with my own hands. The world fades. My heart stops. And the Golden Lotus Omega dies in the cage. Pain explodes across my back. The crack of a whip echoes through the hall. For a moment I can't breathe. My body jerks forward, and my palms slam against the cold stone floor. Dust fills my mouth. My lungs burn as I drag in a ragged breath. Where? Another lash cuts through the air. The whip strikes again. Fire spreads across my skin. Lift your head, a voice barks. My vision swims. The world tilts strangely around me, like a dream that hasn't fully formed. I blink. The floor beneath me isn't the bloody stone of the cage. It's polished black marble. My fingers are smaller. Thinner. I stare at my hands. These are not my hands. A sudden stabbing pain splits through my skull. Memories crash into my mind like a flood breaking through a dam. A young boy. Servant robes. Endless chores. Silent worship. Albert. Carl. The name hits me like lightning. My head snaps up. At the far end of the hall sit 2 thrones carved from dark jade. And on those thrones, 2 men watch me. Albert. Carl. My breath stops. But they are not the disciples I remember. The men before me feel like something else entirely. Albert sits with one leg crossed over the other, leaning lazily against the arm of his throne. His long black hair spills down his back like ink. His eyes are colder than winter steel. Carl stands beside the second throne instead of sitting, arms folded across his chest. His expression is calm, but the air around him presses down like a blade against my throat. Demonic energy coils around both of them. Heavy, violent, terrifying. The hall is silent. Disciples kneel on both sides of the chamber, their heads lowered to the floor. Fear fills the room like poison gas. Someone grabs my hair from behind and yanks my head upward. Look at the demon lords when they judge you. Demon lords. The words echo through my mind. Albert. Carl. My disciples. Now rulers of the demonic sect. A strange laugh almost escapes my throat. Of course they became demons. Only demons would do what they did to me. The memories inside my head continue pouring in. This body. Another Elliot. A servant in the demonic palace. An Omega. A Golden Lotus Omega. My fingers tighten slowly against the floor. This boy. He loved Albert and Carl. Loved them so much he was willing to destroy himself. He followed them everywhere. Watched them constantly. Tried to get their attention like a foolish puppy. But they never once looked at him. Not until that night. The memory rises clearly. The young Elliot kneeling in his small servant room. A small jade bottle shaking in his hands. A forbidden drug. Something strong enough to force an alpha into rut. And an omega into heat. His plan had been simple. Drug Albert. Drug Carl. Then they would claim him. Once they marked him, they would have to care about him. They would have to love him eventually. But he miscalculated. The dosage was too strong. His body couldn't handle the forced heat. He died before dawn. The memory ends abruptly. My chest rises slowly. So this is the body I've been reborn into. A foolish boy who died chasing love. A whip cracks again. Pain explodes across my shoulders. Answer the demon lords. The guard shoves my head down. Explain your crime. My lips curl slightly. Crime. Yes. This boy tried to drug them. But I know something far more interesting. I know their greatest sin. I lift my head slowly. For the first time, my eyes meet theirs. Albert. Carl. The moment our gazes lock, something shifts in the room. Carl's brows draw together slightly. Albert's relaxed posture straightens just a fraction. Their eyes narrow. They're staring at me like they've seen a ghost. Good. Let them feel uneasy. Hatred rises inside my chest like wildfire. These two men. The ones who supposedly exposed me. The ones who caused my death. The ones who let an entire sect of alphas violate me for a month. And now, they sit on thrones like kings. My fingers curl into fists. I want to kill them. Right here. Right now. But my body is weak. A servant. A slave. The guard jerks my head down again. Speak. I lower my gaze. Slowly. Calmly. Just like I used to when I stood before my disciples. This servant apologizes. My voice comes out steady. Respectful. The hall goes quiet again. Albert tilts his head slightly. Carl studies my face carefully. I keep my expression blank. Inside my chest, however, my heart beats like a war drum. Not from fear. From anticipation. This is perfect. I am inside their palace. Right under their noses. They don't recognize me. They think I'm just another servant. A foolish Omega who made a stupid mistake. Good. Very good. The guard releases my hair. Take him away, someone orders. The moment the words leave Albert's lips, the room seems to breathe again. The guards drag me to my feet. My legs shake, but I force myself to walk. Each step echoes softly across the marble floor. When I reach the massive doors of the hall, I pause for half a second. Just long enough to glance back. Albert and Carl are still watching me. Their eyes follow my every movement. Cold. Sharp. Suspicious. For a moment, Carl's gaze drops to my neck. A strange tension tightens his expression. Then the doors slam shut. The hallway outside is dark and silent. The guards shove me forward. Move, servant. I walk slowly down the long corridor. Every step sends pain shooting across my back. But I barely feel it. My mind is spinning. Albert. Carl. Alive. Powerful. And close enough to touch. A quiet laugh escapes my lips. The guards glance at me strangely. Did the whip break his brain? I ignore them. Instead, I look down at my hands. Small. Weak. But alive. I squeeze my fingers tightly. This time, I won't die in a cage. This time, I will make them suffer. Albert. Carl. You betrayed me. You exposed me. You destroyed everything I had. So listen carefully. I whisper the words so softly that even I can barely hear them. I will kill you. Not quickly. Not mercifully. Slowly. Painfully. Just like they deserve. Behind me, deep inside the throne hall, two demon lords continue staring at the closed doors. And for the first time in years, Albert and Carl both feel something they haven't felt in a long time. A chill running down their spines. The doors of the great hall close with a heavy boom. Silence spreads slowly across the chamber. The disciples kneeling on the floor do not dare move. Their foreheads pressed tightly against the cold marble. At the top of the hall, two figures remain perfectly still. Albert's fingers tap once against the arm of his throne. Then again. Slow. Measured. Carl watches the closed doors where the servant boy disappeared. Neither of them speaks for a long time. Finally, Albert exhales softly. Did you see it? Carl's voice comes out low. Yes. Albert leans forward slightly, resting his elbows on his knees. Those eyes. The air around them grows heavier. Carl finally moves, turning toward his brother. They were the same. Albert's lips curl faintly. Exactly the same. A memory surfaces in both their minds at the same time. A quiet mountain forest years ago. Moonlight filtering through tall trees. 3 cultivators resting beside a stream after a long demon hunt. Their master. Elliot. The man who raised them. Guided them. Protected them. The one person they respected more than anyone else. Albert remembers the exact moment everything changed. Elliot had been sitting beside the water, cleaning blood from his sword. Suddenly he froze. Carl remembers the scent hitting them next. Sweet. Soft. Like lotus blooming under moonlight. Albert's hand had tightened around his cup. Carl. Carl had already stood up. Their eyes met. Both of them understood immediately. Omega. But not just any Omega. The scent was too strong. Too pure. Elliot had tried to stand. But his legs gave out. Albert had caught him before he hit the ground. Their master's breathing had been uneven. His golden eyes blurred with confusion. What's happening? Carl had swallowed hard. You're going into heat. Elliot had stared at them like he didn't understand the words. Albert still remembers the way Elliot's fingers grabbed his sleeve. Impossible. But the scent kept growing stronger. Their instincts were breaking apart piece by piece. Albert had tried to step back. Tried to leave the clearing. But Elliot's scent wrapped around his senses like chains. Carl had grabbed his shoulder. Albert. Albert knew what his brother was thinking. Both of them had realized the same terrifying truth. They had fallen for their master long ago. But Elliot had always been an alpha. Or at least that's what everyone believed. Carl's voice had been quiet but steady. If we don't help him, other alphas will smell this. Albert's control shattered. When Elliot collapsed against him again, he kissed him. Their master had gasped softly against his mouth. Carl joined them seconds later. Under the moonlight, beside the forest stream, both brothers marked him. A faint lotus-shaped mark bloomed on Elliot's neck. When the heat finally passed the next morning, Elliot looked at them with stunned silence. Albert had forced a calm expression. Carl had turned away first. None of them mentioned it again. But from that day forward, Albert and Carl knew the truth. Elliot was their fated mate. And they were his. Albert slowly returns to the present. His fingers stop tapping. After that, he murmurs, the sect master summoned us. Carl's eyes darken. Yes. The memory turns bitter. The sect master had praised them for their recent achievements. Then assigned them a special mission. A dangerous one. Exterminate demons appearing near the western border. It sounded urgent. Important. Necessary. Albert had hesitated slightly. What about Master? The sect master smiled. Your master needs time to recover from his injuries. Carl remembers the strange feeling in his chest. Unease. But they obeyed. They left the sect the same night. The mission took longer than expected. Demonic beasts kept appearing in larger numbers. When they finally returned, the sect gates were silent. Too silent. Albert had been the first to smell the blood. Carl's fists tightened slightly at the memory. They ran through the courtyard, past broken walls, past terrified disciples, until they reached the underground prison. And there, they found the cage. Albert closes his eyes slowly. Their master's body lay inside. Cold, broken, covered in wounds. The lotus mark still faintly visible on his neck. Carl's voice drops to a whisper. That was the first time I saw you lose control. Albert opens his eyes again. Something dark flickers in them. The sect master tried to explain. Carl laughed softly. A sound with no humor in it. He didn't finish the sentence. Albert had killed him before he could. After that, the sect burned. Every disciple who touched Elliot died. Every alpha who entered the cage died. Their blood painted the entire mountain red. Carl looks down at his own hands. They said we fell to heart demons. Albert smiles faintly. They were right. The demonic aura surrounding them thickens slightly. After the massacre, they took Elliot's body, deep beneath the mountain, into the forbidden cave. Carl turns toward the hidden passage behind the throne. Come. The guards and disciples remain frozen as both demon lords rise. They follow Carl through the dark corridor. The air grows colder with every step. Finally, they reach the cave chamber. A massive crystal coffin stands in the center. Inside, Elliot lies peacefully. His long hair spreads across the crystal like silver silk. His expression looks calm, almost asleep. Carl steps closer. 10 years. Albert nods. We preserved his body with our life force. Carl touches the crystal surface lightly and used the forbidden summoning spell. The spell was ancient, dangerous, forbidden by heaven itself. It was meant to call a wandering soul back to its body. Albert's voice lowers, but his soul never returned. Carl stares at Elliot's face. Are you sure? Albert looks up slowly. For the first time since entering the cave, his eyes sharpen. You think the same thing I do. Carl nods once. Both of them remember the servant boy in the hall. The moment he lifted his head. The look in his eyes. Not fear. Not submission. But cold hatred. The exact same look Elliot used whenever a disciple disappointed him. Albert chuckles quietly. Interesting. Carl folds his arms. That servant boy. Albert finishes the sentence. He has the same name. Carl adds another detail. The same face. Albert's smile widens slightly. And the same eyes. For a moment the cave falls silent again. Carl finally turns away from the crystal coffin. If it really is him. Albert's voice becomes almost amused. Then he must hate us very much. Carl nods slowly. Yes. The hatred in those eyes was unmistakable. Albert turns back toward the exit. Well. His tone becomes lighter. Let's see how long our master plans to hide. Carl follows behind him. As they leave the cave, Albert glances once more at the crystal coffin. Master. His voice echoes softly in the cold chamber. You always loved testing your disciples. A faint smile touches his lips. This time we'll play along. And somewhere in the palace above, a servant named Elliot begins planning the murder of 2 demon lords. Completely unaware that the game has already begun. I spend the next 3 days studying them. The palace is enormous, but servants talk. Guards whisper. Fear makes people careless. And fear is everywhere. No one dares say their names loudly. Albert. Carl. The 2 demon lords who rule the cultivation world. The men who destroyed an entire sect overnight. The men who turned half the world into ash. All for a corpse. I hear the story 3 different times from 3 different servants. Each version ends the same way. They went mad after their master died. I almost laugh when I hear it. Their master. Me. My fingers tighten around the tray I'm carrying. If they loved me so much, why did they betray me? Why expose me? Why send me to that cage? Hatred burns hotter inside my chest. Good. Hatred keeps my mind sharp. If I want revenge, I must do this carefully. I start small. First attempt. The kitchen smells like herbs and boiling broth. I stand near the long table pretending to chop vegetables. The head cook isn't watching. Slowly, I open a tiny paper packet hidden in my sleeve. A powdered spiritual toxin. Colorless. Odorless. Deadly. It won't kill a demon lord instantly, but it will weaken their cultivation. Just enough. Just enough for the next step. I sprinkle the powder into Albert's tea. My heart stays perfectly calm. The tray leaves the kitchen a few minutes later. I personally carry it to the throne hall. Albert sits lazily across his throne, one arm draped over the side. Carl stands beside him as usual. The moment I step inside, their eyes lock onto me. The air grows heavy. I lower my head respectfully. This servant brings tea. Albert watches me walk forward. His gaze feels sharp enough to peel my skin off. I kneel and place the cup beside his hand. For a moment, nothing happens. Albert reaches out. His fingers wrap around the cup. My heartbeat slows. Drink it. Drink it. Drink it. Albert suddenly stops. The cup pauses halfway to his lips. He glances down at the tea. Then slowly, he looks back at me. Our eyes meet. My chest tightens. His lips curl upward. Interesting. Before I can react, Albert lifts the cup and drinks the entire thing. Every drop. Carl watches silently. My fingers curl slightly against the floor. Good. Very good. Albert sets the empty cup down. Then he leans forward. Servant. My voice stays calm. Yes, Lord Albert? His eyes gleam with amusement. If you wanted to poison me. He taps the empty cup. You should have used something stronger. My stomach drops. Carl lets out a quiet chuckle behind him. I force my expression to remain blank. I don't understand, my lord. Albert laughs softly. Of course you don't. Then he waves his hand dismissively. You may leave. I stand and walk out of the hall. My back remains straight, my breathing steady. Only when the doors close behind me do I finally frown. How did he know? Second attempt. 2 nights later. The palace courtyard is silent under moonlight. I crouch near the stone path, carving a formation into the ground. A spirit trap. Simple. Invisible. The moment someone steps inside the formation, spiritual blades will slice their meridians apart. Not enough to kill Albert or Carl, but enough to cripple them. I finish the final line and brush dirt over the carving. Perfect. Their evening walk always passes through this path. Now I just wait. I hide behind a pillar nearby. Minutes pass. Footsteps approach. Albert and Carl step into the courtyard. Albert stretches lazily. The moon looks nice tonight. Carl snorts quietly. You say that every night. They walk toward the stone path. My pulse stays steady. 3 more steps. 2. 1. Albert suddenly stops. Carl stops beside him. Both men stare down at the ground. Right at my hidden formation. My stomach twists. Albert sighs dramatically. Master always told us our formation skills were terrible. Carl nods. Yes. Albert taps the ground lightly with his foot. The formation shatters instantly. Spiritual energy dissolves into the air. Albert glances toward my hiding place. You should have hidden the energy better. Carl's gaze follows his. Our eyes meet through the shadows. My breath catches. Carl smiles slightly. Then both of them continue walking like nothing happened. I stay frozen behind the pillar. My mind spins. How? How are they discovering everything? Third attempt. 3 days later. A hidden dagger. Sharp enough to cut through spirit shields. I hide it inside my sleeve while delivering documents to Carl's study. Carl sits behind his desk reading. Albert lounges nearby on a window seat. Perfect. Both targets in one room. I step forward. Carl doesn't look up. Leave the documents. I bow. As you command. I place the scrolls on the table. My fingers slip into my sleeve. The dagger slides smoothly into my palm. 1 step closer. Albert suddenly speaks. Servant. My heart skips. Yes. Albert tilts his head. Why are you sweating? My grip tightens on the dagger. I ran here. Carl finally looks up. His eyes fall directly on my sleeve. Are you planning to stab us? The dagger freezes halfway out. Albert bursts into laughter. Carl sighs. I slowly pull the blade out anyway. For a moment we simply stare at each other. Then I charge. The dagger flashes toward Albert's throat. He catches my wrist instantly. Effortless. My body slams against his chest. Albert looks down at me. Amused. Warm breath brushes my ear as he whispers. You're very bold tonight. Carl walks over and gently takes the dagger from my hand. You really should stop trying to kill us. I glare at both of them. Hatred burns in my chest. Albert studies my face closely. For a moment his playful smile fades. Something darker replaces it. Recognition. Yearning. Those eyes again, he murmurs. Carl's fingers suddenly grab my chin. He forces my head up. His gaze searches my face. Slow. Careful. Albert. Yes. Carl's voice drops lower. He looks exactly like him. Albert smiles faintly. I know. My heart pounds. Them? Who are they talking about? Albert suddenly releases my wrist. Carl lets go of my chin. They both step back. Albert stretches lazily again. You may go. I stare at them. Confused. Suspicious. Why aren't they punishing me? Why are they letting me leave? Carl picks up the dagger and places it on the table. Bring a sharper one next time. Albert laughs again. Yes. His golden eyes gleam dangerously. Our master always preferred better weapons. A cold chill runs down my spine. For the first time, I start to wonder if something is terribly wrong with this revenge. Because every time I try to kill them, it feels less like hunting enemies, and more like 2 predators letting their prey play. The palace is quiet that night. Too quiet. Moonlight spills through the long corridors, painting pale lines across the floor. Servants have already disappeared into their quarters. Guards stand like statues along the walls. No one notices me slipping away. Good. For the past week I've been searching the palace. Looking for something. Anything. A weakness. A hidden weapon. A secret that might finally give me the chance to kill Albert and Carl. But the deeper I go into the palace, the stranger things become. There are areas no servant is allowed to enter. Underground passages guarded by powerful formations. Ancient seals carved into the walls. Tonight I finally find one of them open. A narrow stone staircase descends beneath the mountain. Cold air rises from below. I hesitate only a moment before stepping down. The deeper I walk, the colder the air becomes. My breath turns visible. The walls glow faintly with spiritual runes. Forbidden ones. Recognition flickers inside my mind. These are life-binding formations, used only for the most dangerous spells. My heartbeat quickens. What are they hiding down here? The staircase finally opens into a massive cavern. The moment I step inside, I freeze. At the center of the cave stands a crystal coffin. A single pale light shines above it. For a long moment I cannot move. My chest tightens painfully. Because inside the coffin is me. My original body lies perfectly preserved within the crystal. My long hair spreads across the surface like silver threads. My face looks peaceful, untouched, unrotted, unchanged, like I simply fell asleep. My legs move before I realize it. Step, step, step. I stop right in front of the coffin. My fingers tremble slightly as I touch the cold crystal surface. This. My voice comes out barely above a whisper. How? A faint mark glows on the neck of the body inside. A lotus. The same mark the sect master revealed before my death. My mind spins. I thought my corpse had been discarded, buried, destroyed. So why? A familiar voice speaks behind me. We preserved it. My body stiffens instantly. I turn slowly. Albert leans against the cave entrance, arms folded across his chest. Carl stands beside him. Their demonic aura fills the cavern like a storm. Neither of them looks surprised to see me here. Albert pushes himself away from the wall and walks closer. His gaze drifts briefly toward the coffin. We used our life force to keep his body intact. My eyes narrow. Why? Carl answers calmly. So he could come back. The words hit me like a blade. What? Albert stops beside the coffin. His fingers brush lightly across the crystal. After we found his corpse, we searched every forbidden scripture we could find. Carl continues. One of them described a summoning ritual. A ritual capable of calling a soul back to its body. My chest tightens. I stare at them. You expect me to believe that? Albert's lips curl faintly. You're already standing here, aren't you? Carl's gaze sharpens. Master. The word freezes me in place. My heart skips violently. What did you just say? Albert tilts his head slightly. We were suspicious the moment you looked at us in the throne hall. Carl nods. Those eyes. Albert smiles faintly. They belong to only one person. My breathing grows uneven. You're insane. Carl steps closer. His presence feels overwhelming in the confined cave. Are we? Albert gestures toward the crystal coffin. Look closer. My gaze returns to my original body. My stomach twists. The lotus mark on the neck glows faintly. But something else catches my attention. Thin golden threads of spiritual energy connect the coffin to both Albert and Carl. Their life force, feeding the formation. Half their power, constantly sustaining the spell. I look back at them slowly. You've been doing this for years. Carl answers quietly. 10. The number echoes inside my skull. 10 years. 10 years of sacrificing their cultivation. 10 years preserving a corpse. 10 years trying to bring me back. Hatred burns inside my chest. But something else begins to mix with it. Confusion. Anger. Doubt. You're lying. Albert sighs softly. You still believe we betrayed you, didn't you? My voice cracks louder than I intend. You exposed me. You sent me to that cage. You left me there to die. My words echo violently across the cavern. For the first time, Albert's smile disappears completely. Carl's expression turns cold. No. The single word lands like a stone. Albert speaks slowly. The sect master discovered the lotus mark on your neck after our mission in the forest. My breath catches. Carl continues. He realized what you were. Albert's voice grows darker. A Golden Lotus Omega. Carl's hands tighten slightly. He knew what the cultivation world would do to you if they found out. Albert laughs bitterly. So he decided to use you first. The cave feels colder suddenly. He sent us away on a demon extermination mission. Carl finishes quietly. So you would be alone. My mind spins. No. Albert steps closer. When we returned, we found your corpse inside the cage. Carl's voice drops. Broken. My knees feel weak. Albert continues calmly. We killed everyone who touched you. Carl nods. The sect. The elders. The disciples. Every alpha who entered that cage. Albert's golden eyes lock onto mine. And the sect master. My heart pounds violently. That's impossible. Carl reaches toward the coffin. His fingers tap the crystal lightly. Look at his neck. I glance down. The lotus mark glows faintly. But beneath it, 2 deeper marks. Bite marks. Alpha marks. Albert speaks quietly behind me. You belonged to us long before the sect master discovered you. Carl's voice follows. We marked you during your first heat. My mind flashes back. The forest. The moonlight. The scent of lotus. Albert's arms around me. Carl's breath against my neck. My legs give out suddenly. I drop to my knees in front of the coffin. Everything inside my head shatters. All the hatred. All the revenge. Everything I believed. Albert kneels beside me. For once, there is no amusement in his expression. Only something painfully sincere. We tried to bring you back. Carl kneels on my other side. We failed. Albert's voice lowers. Until you appeared. I stare at my reflection in the crystal coffin. The face inside. The face I once had. My chest tightens painfully. So all this time, my voice barely comes out. You weren't the ones who betrayed me. Carl answers softly. No. Albert's hand gently grips my shoulder. We were the ones who destroyed the world for you. Silence fills the cave. My revenge suddenly feels meaningless. And for the first time since my rebirth, I don't know who the real enemy was. The cave is silent. Too silent. The crystal coffin reflects the 3 of us like ghosts trapped inside the mountain. My hands tremble slightly. 10 years. 10 years they preserved my body. 10 years feeding that formation with their life force. 10 years believing I was gone forever. The hatred inside my chest suddenly feels hollow. Albert notices first. He always did. He crouches in front of me, golden eyes studying my face like he's searching for something fragile. Master. The word still feels strange. Carl stands beside him, arms folded, but his gaze is just as sharp. You finally understand. My throat tightens. You destroyed the world. Albert shrugs faintly. It deserved it. Carl's voice is colder. Anyone who touched you deserved worse. A strange heat begins spreading through my body. At first I think it's anger. Then the scent hits me. Lotus. Sweet. Overpowering. My breath stutters. No. Albert's expression sharpens instantly. Carl straightens beside him. Your heat, Carl mutters. Of course. This body is still an Omega. And now the truth has broken the last barrier holding it back. My knees weaken. Albert catches me before I fall. His arms wrap around my waist instinctively. Warm. Solid. Familiar. The scent of alpha surrounds me immediately. Dark cedar. Sharp steel. Carl steps closer behind me. His presence presses against my back like a wall. You should have told us earlier, Albert murmurs near my ear. My head spins. Let go. But my voice has already lost strength. Carl leans down slightly. His breath brushes the back of my neck. Your scent is getting stronger. The lotus scent fills the entire cavern now. My body burns. Every nerve feels too sensitive. Albert's grip tightens slightly as I struggle weakly. Master. His voice lowers. You know what this means. I do know. Omega heat. Alpha rut. The bond between mates. Everything that started 10 years ago in that forest. Everything that was interrupted by betrayal and death. Carl's hand suddenly tilts my chin upward. Our eyes meet. There's no cruelty in his gaze. No mockery. Only something darker. Possession. You ran from us for 10 years, he says quietly. Albert's fingers brush lightly against the side of my neck. Right where the old mark once existed. Not anymore. My pulse jumps violently. I'm not running. Albert laughs softly. You tried to stab us 3 days ago. Carl adds calmly. And poison us. My face heats. That was before. Albert leans closer. His forehead touches mine. For a moment neither of us breathes. Then he whispers. You still belong to us. My body shivers. Carl's arm wraps around my waist from behind, pulling me back against his chest. And we belong to you. Their scents surround me completely now. Alpha pheromones pressing against my senses from both sides. The heat inside me spirals out of control. My fingers clutch Albert's robe. Don't. Albert's eyes soften slightly. Don't what? Don't betray me again. The words escape before I can stop them. Silence falls. Carl's grip tightens slightly around my waist. Albert's expression becomes serious for the first time. We never did. Carl leans down beside my ear. And this time, his voice turns dangerously soft. We won't lose you again. Albert's hand slides behind my neck. He pulls me closer. My breath catches. The moment his teeth press lightly against my skin, the lotus mark flares to life. Warm light spreads across the cavern. Carl's arm tightens around me as he lowers his head to the other side of my neck. The sensation sends heat rushing through my entire body. 2 alphas. 2 bonds. The same ones from that night under the forest moon. Albert's voice murmurs against my skin. Our Omega. Carl's breath follows. Our master. The marks sink deeper. Not as chains. Not as punishment. But as a promise. The lotus glows brighter on my neck. For the first time since my death, the hatred inside my chest finally disappears. And in its place remains only one terrifying truth. I died once believing they betrayed me. But the truth is far worse. Albert and Carl didn't abandon me. They destroyed the entire world to bring me back. And now, they will never let me leave again.